Hello and welcome. Today, we're going to pull back the curtain a little bit. We're going way beyond the front desk and the fancy lobby, deep into what I call the digital engine room of any modern hotel. We're going to talk about the invisible architecture that, honestly, can either make or completely break a hotel's success. And that is distribution connectivity. Now, I know you're all future leaders from the Europe Hotel School, so listen up, because this isn't just some abstract theory. This is the actual technical foundation of your entire commercial strategy. And I mean it. Mastering this stuff is what really separates a good manager from a truly great one. So let's dive right in. Think about this for a second. Before a guest even sets foot in your hotel, they've already had a whole interaction with this huge invisible network. It's this incredibly complex web of systems, and it has to work perfectly, all day, every day. So what is this invisible network? What's the secret sauce that powers every single hotel booking on the planet? The best way to think about it is like a digital blueprint for your hotel. I mean, before you can even think about selling one room, you have to build this technical foundation first. It's the absolute bedrock, the thing that connects your property to the entire global marketplace. Okay, so the fancy term for it is distribution connectivity. But what I really want you to lock onto is this idea of a digital bridge, because that's exactly what it is. It's this super technical two-way connection that links your hotel's main reservation system to all of its online sales channels. And here's the thing, if that bridge is weak, your whole commercial structure, it can just collapse. All right, so if you've got this complex digital bridge, how on earth do you manage it? Well, just like any big operation, you need a central command center, right? In the world of hotel distribution, that command center is a very specific, very important piece of technology. It's called the channel manager, and trust me, it really is the nerve center of your entire distribution network. What it does is kind of brilliant. It takes all the different technical languages from hundreds of online travel agencies, your Expedias, your Booking.coms, and it acts like a translator, turning it all into one single language that your hotel's system can understand. And what that means is your revenue manager gets one single dashboard to control absolutely everything. So let's break down how that two-way conversation actually works. It's pretty simple, really. You have the push. That's your hotel sending out all its real-time updates on rates and how many rooms are available. And then you have the pull. That's the channel manager pulling in all the new bookings right as they happen. The key here is that this synchronization has to be constant, and it has to be instantaneous. So why is this real-time two-way link so non-negotiable? Well, because the stakes are just incredibly high. Without it, you could accidentally sell the exact same room 10 times over. And that leads to something we in the industry call a walk-in disaster. That's when a guest shows up, confirmed reservation in hand, and you have no room for them. It is an absolute catastrophic service failure, the kind of thing that can just torch a hotel's reputation overnight. Okay, so your command center is all set up. Now what? Well, now it's time to actually connect the wires to the outside world. And this is done through a really meticulous, careful process that we call mapping. And at this stage, precision is everything. I can't stress that enough. The revenue manager has to take an internal room code, let's say DLX_K for a deluxe king, and then perfectly match it to the right code on every single sales channel. When the mapping is correct, the guest books exactly what they think they're booking. Simple as that. But look what happens when there's just one tiny mistake. Here, the code for a presidential suite, SUIPR, gets accidentally mapped to a standard room. So a guest online thinks they've hit the jackpot, right? The deal of a lifetime. But when they get to check-in, they find out they've actually booked a standard room. Ugh. That one tiny mapping error just created a massive service failure and a justifiably furious guest. Now, it's not just about the big public OTAs like Expedia. You also have to connect to something called the GDS, the Global Distribution System. These are the heavy hitter platforms, systems like Amadeus, Sabre, and Galileo that power all the big corporate travel programs and the traditional travel agencies. And this connection, it's absolutely crucial for tapping into that really high-value business traveler market. Okay, so let's say all the wires are connected. The blueprint is built, we're ready to flip the switch and go live, right? Not so fast. Before we do anything, the entire system has to go through a super rigorous stress test. And in this test, only one thing matters: speed. The key metric we're looking at here is called latency. That's just the technical term for how long it takes for an update to go from your system and actually appear live on a website. And we're not talking about seconds here, we're talking about milliseconds. A rate change you make has to travel from your system all the way to a global OTA in under 200 milliseconds. To put that in perspective, that is literally faster than you can blink. So, why this crazy obsession with speed? It's simple. A slow system loses money, period. Think about it. If it takes even a few seconds for your new, lower price to show up online, a competitor can swoop in and undercut you in that tiny window. If it takes too long for a sold-out message to appear, you risk selling a room you don't have. Speed is directly, one-to-one, tied to profitability. All right, we're almost there. The technical connections are built, they've been tested for speed, but there's one final, absolutely crucial layer we need to talk about. You see, this system doesn't just send data, like rates and availability. It sends a promise to your guests. So this last part is all about making sure your brand, your photos, your descriptions, your policies are perfectly consistent, no matter where a guest finds you. And you know what the single most powerful tool for setting that promise is? Your photography. It's not even close. High-quality, professional images are what get a guest to click that Book Now button. They're what set the guest's expectations and what justifies your price point. Seriously, never, ever underestimate the power of your digital first impression. And of course, the flip side is just as true. If a potential guest sees blurry, outdated, or just plain inaccurate pictures online, it completely kills their confidence. It tanks your conversion rates, and even if they do end up booking, it destroys their trust the moment they arrive and realize the reality doesn't match the picture. You've broken that promise before they've even gotten their room key. So, after all this, what's the big takeaway here? It's this. As a future leader in this industry, you have to understand that your hotel's revenue engine is a precision machine. It's not something you can just wing. It has to be designed, it has to be built, and it has to be perfectly tuned before you ever take a single reservation. Your entire commercial success really does begin right here, inside this invisible digital architecture that connects your hotel to the rest of the world.